Scientists just found microplastics inside human hearts, not in the water, not in the food, inside the heart muscle itself, inside the coronary arteries, inside the brain, and the people whose hearts contained the highest levels of microplastics were 3 times more likely to have a heart attack or stroke within the next 3 years. This study was published in the New England Journal of Medicine in 2024. It was one of the most alarming findings in modern medicine, and almost nobody changed their behavior. After reading it, microplastics are fragments of plastic smaller than 5 millimeters. Nanoplastics are even smaller, invisible to the naked eye, small enough to pass through cell walls, small enough to cross the blood-brain barrier. They come from plastic water bottles when heated, from plastic food containers, from the plastic coating inside tin cans, from synthetic clothing fibers released during washing, from plastic bags degrading under sunlight, from the dust in most indoor environments. The average person ingests approximately 5 grams of microplastics per week. That is the equivalent of a credit card. Every week, inside your body. For decades, scientists assumed microplastics were inert. They passed through. They caused no harm. That assumption is now completely overturned. Research published in 2024 showed that microplastics and nanoplastics accumulate in human arterial plaques. People with detectable microplastics in their arteries had a 4.5 times higher risk of heart attack, stroke, or death compared to people without them. A separate study found microplastics in human testicles and placentas. Another found them in human breast milk, in newborn babies, in the lungs of people who had never smoked. These particles are not passing through, they are staying, accumulating over years, triggering inflammation wherever they settle. Here is the mechanism that makes this so dangerous. Microplastics are not biologically neutral objects. First, they trigger an immune response. The body recognizes them as foreign and sends inflammatory cells to surround them. This creates chronic, localized inflammation at every site of accumulation. Second, microplastics carry chemical hitchhikers, plasticizers like BPA and phthalate endocrine disruptors that interfere with hormone signaling, thyroid function, and reproductive health. Third, microplastics damage the mitochondria. Studies in cell cultures show that nanoplastics impair mitochondrial function directly, reducing the energy output of affected cells and accelerating the markers of cellular senescence. In other words, microplastics create zombie cells. The same zombie cells we discussed in a previous video, triggered now not just by aging or stress, but by the plastic accumulating inside your organs. The exposure is impossible to eliminate completely, but it can be reduced dramatically. Stop drinking from plastic water bottles, especially bottles that have been exposed to heat. Plastic releases significantly more particles when warmed by sunlight, a hot car, or a microwave. Use glass, stainless steel, or ceramic containers for hot food and beverages. Plastic food containers release particles when heated in a microwave. Filter your tap water. Studies show that reverse osmosis filters remove a significant percentage of microplastics compared to unfiltered water. Reduce synthetic clothing, polyester, nylon, and acrylic fabrics shed microplastic fibers with every wash. A single synthetic garment can release millions of fibers per cycle. Using a filter bag designed to catch these fibers reduces release dramatically. Vacuum and ventilate your home regularly. Indoor dust is one of the largest underestimated sources of microplastic exposure, and eat less processed food. In plastic packaging, the longer food sits in plastic, the more particles it absorbs. This is especially true for fatty foods, which absorb plastic chemicals more readily than water-based foods. On the internal side, research is identifying compounds that support the body's response to particle-induced inflammation. Sulforaphane, found in broccoli and cruciferous vegetables, activates the NRF2 pathway, which is one of the body's primary defenses against environmental toxins and oxidative stress. Quercetin, the same compound found in onions and apples that we discussed for zombie cells, also demonstrates anti-inflammatory effects in tissue exposed to microplastic particles. And dietary fiber, has now been studied specifically in the context of microplastic exposure. Early research suggests that certain fiber types may reduce microplastic absorption in the gut before particles enter the bloodstream. This is an emerging area. The research is not complete, but the direction is consistent. The anti-inflammatory, antioxidant botanical compounds that support longevity broadly also appear to support the body's resilience against this specific modern threat. The generation alive today is the first generation to carry measurable levels of synthetic plasticine every organ of their body. We do not yet know what a full lifetime of this accumulation looks like. The research is only beginning, but the early signals are not reassuring. Heart attacks, strokes, hormonal disruption, mitochondrial damage, cellular senescence, inflammation in the brain. The plastic is not just an environmental issue. It is a biological issue. It is inside you right now. And the only meaningful response is to reduce what goes in and support the systems that deal with what is already there. If this changed how you look at your water bottle, subscribe for weekly longevity science from a perspective you will not find anywhere else. Next video. The sleep mistake that 90% of people make that ages the brain faster than almost anything else. See you there.